Kings and Queens, Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for returning. Trust you and yours are well and you're loving yourself and others like always. Many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you my esteemed subscribers you loved, celebrated, and of course appreciated. So, there is agitation right now, and I think this is increasing. Okay, we are having more people talking about getting rid of democracy. We are seeing more people waking up to the fact that democracy is not what we thought it was, and it's not in any way helping Africa. It has never helped Africa. It's not in any way helping Africa. I think we had a discussion about the Bishop Maponga saying that democracy is a smokescreen of lies. And a lot of people are coming out right now and questioning democracy. So I don't know what they're going to do about the situation. What do you think about this? Because I believe that the level of failed leadership in the continent is what is pushing a lot of persons into concluding that democracy truly is not for the progress of Africa. Because when you look into the regions where democracy is practiced in its utmost capacity, talking about Africa right now, regions in Africa where democracy is practiced at its utmost capacity, you discover that those citizens from those countries are not really happy. Okay? Citizens from those nations are not happy. The economic situation of those nations is not good. The corruption level is on the high. And that is why people are saying now that it's not better that one let go of this democracy and see what another form of leadership can give Africa. Now, the fear of some persons, even well-meaning Africans, is when we talk about giving up democracy, what is the next option? Is it military? Because the military itself had proven from decades ago that they are not also good for Africa. And this is what is taking me to the discussions we had when the Sahel took over power initially, where I personally told you here that I believed in the Sahel and that the leadership of the Sahel, the military leadership of the Sahel, is a different thing. Because when you go through history, you understand that those military takeover those decades ago, those times in the past, were the tool of Europe and America. Okay? It was still the West that had controlled those military men to take over power. The military was a tool for them at that time. They were using military to get rid of anybody that is coming for the growth of Africa. And that is why most of our Pan-African leaders were unalive. You talk about a whole lot of them who really believed in the unity of Africa, doing everything for Africa to progress. The military was used as a force against them to either bring them down for another democratic person to take over, or to take them down for a military leadership to take over. And after these military takeovers, the people were still not living in peace. So the fear of well-meaning Africans as well, again, is that I hope this military is not like that. And like I told you, I said these people are not the same. Why? Because you can compare it. The situation, the scenario surrounding these military takeovers, compare with that of the past. And you understand why this leadership can never be like the military leadership of decades ago. Now we can see, after some few years of military takeover in the Sahel, we can see what's happening in the Sahel. Even though the West are making effort to sabotage their efforts. They are making effort to sabotage the effort that these military leaders are putting in. Even though they are doing everything possible to see that they destroy the Sahel is still growing. The Sahel had changed. That's what I'm saying. Unlike before, we are now seeing another side of the Sahel. Yes, there is still insurgency, there is still terrorism and the rest, but it is the West that are using all these organizations to bring down, the efforts of all these military leaders in the Sahel. And now we just had a very, very recent one in Madagascar, and the policies that he is putting in place is still for the betterment of the country. We can see that at this time, The military men that are taking over power are men who really have their people at heart. They are not controlled by the West. It's not America who had told the Sahel leaders to take over power. Initially, they wanted making it look like they are the ones who is controlling the Sahel. But we have seen it from recent happenings that they do not have any power over the Sahel leaders. And we just hope that nothing changed for the worse, but things will keep happening for good like this. When you look at geopolitics around the world, you discover that nations, kingdoms that were under democracy were not succeeding. You discover that for kingdoms to rise, most of the kingdoms that rose from, poverty to becoming a stable economy, were not led by democratically elected leaders. I hope you understand. Just take a look at China, look at Russia, look at other parts of the world where democracy doesn't have a place. They are thriving, they are growing, they are developing. But Africa that became the custodian of democracy, in short, it's like Africa began to live the democracy even more than those who had invented democracy. Look at Africa today. Africa gradually became the shadow of herself and crawled back into what she was not even from the beginning. It is quite unfortunate. Let's listen to Timo Media. I told you he is on here on YouTube. You can follow him as well at Timo Media 360.
Africa should get rid of democracy, and Africa will never be the same. We will develop. When China was going through problems, they got rid of democracy, and China has never been the same. Today, China is a superpower. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia was going through problems under Boris Yeltsin because of democracy and Western capitalism. Vladimir Putin came in, he got rid of this whole Western democracy nonsense and, capitalism. And today, look at Russia. Russia has never been the same. Now, Russia is now a superpower. Russia is back on the race. Look at a country like Vietnam. When the West were exploiting Vietnam, they got rid of democracy and Western system of capitalism. Look at where Vietnam has gotten today. So if Africa wants to be powerful, number one tool we must tackle on this continent is democracy. We must get rid of democracy and form our own system of governance. We are told that democracy means a group of people coming together to choose the leader, right? It is the opposite. Democracy means the Western powers and America coming together to choose a leader for you. We don't choose our leaders, they choose them for us through democracy. Democracy is a tool to control all democratic countries. They take out good leaders from power through democracy. They sponsor the opposition, make the government of the day unpopular through the media, then bring in a puppet government. Whenever there's elections in Africa here, you see EU representatives, American representatives. You think they are here because they love us. No. They are here to choose your leader for you. And that is exactly what the Chinese understood. That is why they got rid of Western system, democracy. They don't want to hear about it. In Russia, it's not about Vladimir Putin. The people themselves hate democracy with passion because they've seen what the West have done to other countries with their so-called democracy. Libya, look at Afghanistan, look at, Iraq, with this whole democracy nonsense. Look at Africa here, they destabilize the entire continent with democracy. They sponsor, pressure groups, then they go on streets, demonstrate, then they use that to organize color revolutions. Typical example is the Arab Spring. That is what they do on the continent. Let us be smart. Democracy is not for you. As a developing continent, we have to choose a different system of governance, not democracy. No third world country, if you're not part of EU or NATO, you will never develop with democracy. I want one country around the world, a third world country, who's not part of EU, who's not part of NATO, or not controlled by America, who has developed with democracy. One country.
If Africa wants to be powerful, Africa should get rid of democracy. Now, getting rid of democracy is not talking about going into military leadership. No. Like I told you here, we had our own form of leadership before involving with Europe or before they got involved with us. We had a form of leadership When you read through how Europe underdeveloped the world by Walter Rodney, you discover that we had a thriving system. We had a system that was existing, that was thriving. We had a society that was already developed. And it was the same Europeans that said this with their mouth because they were eyewitness of the situation. We had an educational system that was working. We had an economic system that was working. We had a leadership system that was working. But when they came to us and deceived us into throwing that which we have and accept the one that is the best, that was the beginning of our problems. So we are not saying that, okay, because we're saying democracy is our problem, let's get rid of democracy. That means we are saying that we should opt for military leadership. No, it mustn't be military leadership. It must not be military leadership. There are other ways, there are other forms of leadership that we can adapt. Now, how would this even be possible when there is no unity? I'm talking about unity now. I'm talking about, as Africans, we don't even have one mind. We don't even have, one purpose in mind. A lot of Africans are fighting fellow Africans, all thanks to divide and conquer tactics. A lot of Africans don't even see their fellow Africans as brothers. They see their fellow Africans as the enemy, all thanks to divide and conquer tactics. And it's because we are still blinded. That is why we are not seeing what we need to see, but we are seeing the opposite of that which is reality. It is unfortunate, I tell you, Your Majesties. Because if you say the government, like he said, you say democracy is a government for the people, by the people, so the people have the power. But with what we have been seeing for decades ago, that democracy have been the one, the main thing in the continent, we are seeing that it is Europe that controls the leadership system of Africa. It is Europe that decides who stays in power and who does not stay. Whoever will favor them is the one they struggle, they lobby into the power, into the position. Wherever there is a union, and there are white people involved in the union, I'm never okay with it. But this is my own opinion. And people like me who have the same thoughts like I do, who have studied the situation of Africa critically to the level that we have studied it too. But some people who just see life as a normal thing are happy whenever they see a white man, a white woman. The average African is always happy. In short, our system, the system in the continent is just like that. Whatever you do and you don't involve a white person is not correct. This is how they look at themselves. But I think with the little effort that we put in, try to analyze situations about the motherland, I just hope that one day we see the truth for what it is. That the way we are giving so much trust and power to these people is the reason why we are in the situation that we are in. Because we are accepting everything that they say as the truth and nothing but the truth. And at the long run, they make decisions that favor them. Decisions for their own good and not for our own good. It's unfortunate, but this is what we have. What do you think about this situation? Leave your thoughts and opinion there at the section. I'm going to see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others. Stay safe, stay positive always, Your Majesties. Bye for now.